Iranian outlets, including Fars and Tasnim, rejected social media claims that the blast targeted an IRGC Navy commander. The semi-official Tasnim news agency said that social media reports were completely false, addressing rumors that had circulated for hours online. Fars said it was denying rumors that had circulated online, claiming the IRGC Navy commander was assassinated. The specific naming of Brigadier General Alireza Tangsiri in the rumors indicates the level of detail in claims that spread on social media during the incident. Iranian media initially reported an explosion, and later the city's fire chief was quoted saying it was caused by a gas leak. The blast occurred at a residential building in the coastal Iranian city of Bandar Abbas on Saturday. Iranian media says the blast is being investigated but gives no further information. Iranian authorities could not immediately be contacted for comment by international media outlets seeking additional details about the incident. A U.S. official told CNN the blast was not related to U.S. military action, according to reports. Two Israeli officials told Reuters that Israel was not involved in the blasts. The denials address online speculation, but they do not explain what caused the blast. The investigation by Iranian authorities continues according to media reports, and detailed findings have not been released. Iranian outlets denied the commander targeting rumor, and U.S. and Israeli officials denied involvement. The fire chief was quoted pointing to a gas leak, but investigators have not released detailed findings. The gap between speculation and confirmed information illustrates the challenge of obtaining accurate details during periods of elevated regional tension. Multiple claims circulate while official explanations remain incomplete. Fairs reported a child was killed and 14 people were injured. International reporting said at least one person died and 14 were hurt. Emergency services were at the scene responding to the incident, according to state media coverage. The city's fire chief said on semi-official news agency Tasnim that all residents from the building had been evacuated. The evacuation and rescue response involved multiple emergency services agencies, according to media reports. Iranian media reported 1 death and 14 injuries. The figures come from Iranian media coverage rather than independent verification of casualty counts. The death of a child adds a tragic human dimension to the incident regardless of its ultimate cause. The casualty figures may be updated as more information becomes available from authorities. The city's fire chief was quoted saying a gas leak caused the blast, while Iranian media said an investigation was continuing. This attribution came after initial uncertainty about the cause of the explosion. Iranian media initially reported an explosion, and later the city's fire chief was quoted saying it was caused by a gas leak. The sequence shows how official explanations emerged over time as the situation developed. The gas leak explanation, if accurate, would mean the explosion was a domestic accident rather than anything connected to broader regional tensions. However, the investigation continues, according to Iranian media. The fire chief's statement provides one explanation, but investigators have not released detailed findings. Whether this explanation satisfies all observers given the timing and regional context remains to be seen. Iranian outlets described heavy damage, but gave differing details on how many floors were affected. Footage showed major structural damage. State television reported the explosion destroyed 2 floors, blew out the building's facade, and shattered nearby shops. Images broadcast on Iranian state media showed walls torn open, interiors exposed to the street, and debris scattered across the roadway. The visual evidence indicates significant force from the blast. Some local and social accounts claimed nearby cars and shops were damaged. That detail has not been independently verified. Multiple vehicles along the boulevard were reportedly affected. Rescue crews and firefighters rushed to the scene as emergency responders worked to evacuate residents and assist the injured. The emergency response continued for hours as crews worked to secure the damaged building. Meanwhile, in Iran's southwestern Khuzestan province, 4 people were killed in a gas explosion that also took place Saturday in the Kianshar neighborhood of Ahvaz city, according to Iranian state media. This separate incident was characterized as gas-related from the outset. Crews had begun clearing the debris from that blast to rescue those trapped under the rubble, state television reports. The Ahvaz explosion occurred more than 1,000 kilometers north of Bandar Abbas. The state-run Tehran Times cited the head of the city's fire department reporting the 4 deaths in Ahvaz. The incident was described as a gas explosion without the speculation that surrounded the Bandar Abbas blast. Both blasts being attributed to gas explosions on the same day drew attention, though gas-related incidents are not uncommon. The coincidental timing during elevated regional tensions naturally led to speculation online. Fars said it was denying rumors that had circulated online, claiming the IRGC Navy commander was assassinated. The specific mention of Brigadier General Alireza Tangsiri, commander of the IRGC Navy, shows the detailed nature of claims spreading on social media. The semi-official Tasnim news agency said social media reports alleging that an IRGC Navy commander was targeted in the explosion at the southern port were completely false. The denial was forceful and direct. The spread of assassination rumors during periods of tension reflects the information environment in the region. Unverified claims circulate rapidly while official statements struggle to catch up with speculation. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps reports directly to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, making any claim about IRGC commanders instantly significant in regional analysis. The denial addressed this specific speculation. The port of Bandar Abbas lies on the Strait of Hormuz, a vital waterway between Iran and Oman, which handles about a fifth of the world's seaborne oil. The city's strategic location makes any incident there significant for regional observers. Bandar Abbas serves as a major commercial and naval hub for Iran, handling substantial portions of the country's maritime commerce. The city also hosts Iranian naval facilities, adding to its importance during the current tensions. The location of the explosion in a civilian area, a residential building, rather than a military facility is consistent with the gas leak explanation cited by the fire chief. Military or strategic targets would more likely be located in different areas. However, the strategic significance of Bandar Abbas means that any major incident there draws attention and speculation, particularly during periods of elevated US-Iran tensions. The city's importance ensures scrutiny regardless of actual cause. Masoud Pezeshkian blamed US, Israeli, and European leaders for stoking unrest, according to Reuters. The Iranian president accused these leaders of exploiting Iran's economic problems and providing people with means to tear the nation apart. The accusation came as tensions between Iran and the US, and a major American military buildup in the region continue to affect the country. Pezeshkian's statement positions external actors as responsible for Iran's difficulties. The Iranian government's framing of unrest as externally driven rather than reflecting domestic grievances is consistent with long-standing official messaging. Western governments and human rights organizations characterize protests differently. Rights groups have reported on the situation in Iran with significantly different assessments than Iranian officials provide. The competing characterizations reflect the contested nature of information about events inside Iran. Rights group Harana put the death toll at around 6,500, a figure Reuters said it could not independently verify. The figure is significantly higher than any numbers acknowledged by Iranian officials. U.S. President Donald Trump initially threatened to use military force against Iran as reports emerged of action against protesters in January. The reported crackdown drew international attention and criticism. Trump appeared to back down from using military force after reportedly receiving assurances about executions, according to reporting on the exchange. However, tensions have continued to escalate. Iran has no specific plans to meet or negotiate with the U.S. over its nuclear program, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said on Friday, according to reporting. This position suggests diplomatic resolution may not be imminent. Iran said on Thursday that the IRGC would conduct a 2-day live-fire naval exercise in the Strait from Sunday, according to reporting. The exercises add another element to military activity in the region. The U.S. military's Central Command on Friday told Iran that it would not permit any actions in the Strait that it deemed unsafe to U.S. forces. CENTCOM is calling on Iran's Revolutionary Guard to avoid dangerous and escalatory behavior. CENTCOM says it will not tolerate unsafe actions, including high-speed approaches toward U.S. warships, low-altitude armed flyovers, or weapons pointed at American forces, according to the statement. The Strait of Hormuz is a vital waterway that handles about a fifth of the world's seaborne oil, making any military activity there highly sensitive. The combination of Iranian exercises and American warnings creates potential for incidents. President Trump confirmed that the United States is moving a larger naval force toward Iran, according to his public comments. "We have a large armada, flotilla, you can call it whatever you want, heading toward Iran right now, even larger than what we had in Venezuela," Trump said. "We're now sending actually a larger number of ships to Iran and hopefully we'll make a deal," Trump said, according to reported comments. "If we do make a deal, that's good. If we don't make a deal, we'll see what happens." When asked if he had communicated a deadline to Iran, Trump said they know for sure and confirmed he had communicated directly. The suggestion of a deadline adds urgency to the current standoff. Trump's comments combine military positioning with expressed hope for diplomatic resolution. The framing presents military buildup as leverage for negotiation while maintaining pressure. Trump claimed he stopped 837 people from being hung in Iran, saying he told Iranian officials, "If you do it, you're going to pay a price like nobody's ever paid before," and they pulled back, according to reported comments. Iran's top prosecutor has publicly denied this claim, according to reporting on Iranian official responses. The specific details represent Trump's characterization that Iranian officials have contested. Whether the claimed intervention occurred as Trump describes cannot be determined from publicly available information. The competing claims leave the matter disputed rather than verified. "I can say this: they do want to make a deal," Trump said, according to reported comments. This assessment of Iranian intentions contrasts with Iranian official statements about having no specific plans to negotiate. According to a Western source familiar with U.S.-Israeli coordination cited by Iran International, diplomacy may no longer be the central question. The source reportedly claims that decision-making circles have moved past whether a military strike will happen. It is important to note that this characterization comes from an unnamed source and has not been independently verified or confirmed by official U.S. or Israeli government statements. Such claims should be treated with appropriate caution. The scenario being discussed, the source claims, would be unprecedented, aimed not at negotiation, but at delivering a decisive blow. This represents one source's characterization, not confirmed policy. Official U.S. and Israeli government positions have not confirmed such planning. Public statements emphasize maintaining options while expressing preference for diplomatic resolution. Israeli officials told Reuters their country was not involved in the Bandar Abbas explosion. This denial addresses the immediate incident rather than broader strategic posture during regional tensions. Israel is on full alert, according to the Iran International report citing an unnamed Western source. This characterization represents one source's assessment rather than confirmed Israeli policy. The combination of Israeli denial of involvement in the explosion and reports about Israeli posture reflect different aspects, one addressing a specific incident, the other addressing general assessment during tensions. Reports about alert status from unnamed sources should be treated with appropriate caution. Official Israeli statements focused on denying involvement in the specific blast. CENTCOM says U.S. forces will continue to operate with professionalism, protect freedom of navigation, and safeguard personnel, ships, and aircraft across the Middle East, according to the statement. The U.S. military's Central Command on Friday told Iran that it would not permit any actions in the Strait that it deemed unsafe to U.S. forces. The message emphasizes professional conduct expectations. CENTCOM's public messaging emphasizes rules of engagement and professional military conduct rather than imminent conflict. This framing is consistent with deterrence messaging. The gap between public official statements emphasizing professionalism and unnamed source reports suggesting different scenarios illustrates uncertainty about actual policy direction. Official statements should be prioritized. Iranian Army Chief Amir Hatami declared Iran's forces are now at full defensive and military readiness, according to Iranian state media coverage. The statement came amid the elevated regional tensions. If the enemy makes a mistake, without a doubt, it will endanger its own security, the security of the region, and the security of the Zionist regime, Hatami said according to state media. Hatami also pushed back against threats aimed at Iran's nuclear infrastructure. Iran's nuclear science and technology cannot be eliminated, he said, even if the scientists and sons of this nation are martyred. These statements represent the official Iranian military position during the current crisis. The warnings are consistent with Iran's broader messaging about readiness and deterrence. Iran has no specific plans to meet or negotiate with the U.S. over its nuclear program, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said on Friday, according to reporting. This position suggests diplomatic resolution may not be imminent. The statement contrasts with Trump's assertion that they do want to make a deal. The gap between American characterizations of Iranian intentions and Iranian official statements creates uncertainty about negotiation prospects. Turkey has offered to mediate between the U.S. and Iran during talks with Iranian officials, according to Reuters and other reporting. Regional powers have engaged with both capitals, urging restraint. Whether diplomatic channels can produce results depends on decisions in both capitals. The combination of military positioning and stated reluctance to negotiate creates an uncertain trajectory. Iranian outlets denied the commander targeting rumor, and U.S. and Israeli officials denied involvement. The fire chief was quoted pointing to a gas leak, but investigators have not released detailed findings. The various denials address specific claims that a commander was targeted, that the U.S. was involved, that Israel was involved. None of these denials explains what actually caused the blast. The fire chief's attribution to a gas leak provides one explanation, but the investigation continues according to Iranian media. Whether detailed findings will be publicly released is unclear. For observers tracking the situation, the Bandar Abbas explosion represents one incident in a complex regional picture. The combination of speculation, denials, and incomplete official explanation leaves questions open. The crisis continues with multiple developments occurring simultaneously. The Bandar Abbas explosion, with fire chief quoted on gas leak, IRGC exercises scheduled, U.S. naval forces positioning, diplomatic stalemate continuing. The denials from Iranian outlets about assassination rumors, from U.S. officials about American involvement, and from Israeli officials about Israeli involvement all address the specific incident. Broader tensions remain. For observers tracking the situation, key uncertainties include: will the gas leak explanation hold? How will IRGC exercises proceed? Will any incidents occur? Is diplomatic progress possible despite stated positions? The broader trajectory toward escalation, toward de-escalation, or toward continued standoff remains uncertain. The Bandar Abbas explosion, whatever its cause, occurs within this large